Okay, so I really want to talk about cancel culture, but I almost feel like I'm not informed enough to talk about it because it seems like every time someone talks about it, they bring up like a different issue with cancel culture. And it mainly has to do with like pretty much like rich and successful people being canceled and famous people being canceled and how like you know fandoms sort of like gang up on uh somebody who's this is kind of a big thing in like reality shows, and I hear about it a lot with like Drag Race and Big Brother, and that people who are trying to base their career off of social media um, you know, lose their careers very quickly off of misinterpretations or sort of mob justice wokeness. And I really don't understand where people get off making a big deal about this. I feel like I've never heard anyone complain about I haven't heard as much energy behind transgender discrimination at work or LGBTQIA, people being able to be fired because of their sexuality or who they go home to because of their family status. I've never heard of it referred to as cancel culture when, you know, people are essentially blackballed for basically crossing the wrong person at the wrong time. Like, you know, a slight or wearing the wrong hairdo to the wrong event. I remember when a presidential candidate lost his entire candidacy because he made a loud yelping sound, like a very excited sound. I remember people canceling Hillary Clinton even after all the reasons they did or didn't like her. There was a cancellation of her because she said she had hot sauce in her bag and she was pandering. I remember canceling coming up as a discussion when it came to um, Brett Kavanaugh, canceling with Louis C.K. and um, I mean, is like for instance, especially with Louis C.K. There is an instance where you have a person who is doing brilliant comedy and also pretty much menacing people, being accused of menacing people, allegedly, mainly women, and sexually, allegedly. And because of this, he loses contracts and so forth. But I remember when comedy was underground for a very long time, that there were comedians who had sitcoms and there were comedians that had, big followings and they could, play the comedy clubs anywhere. And as far as I know, for the most part, there's always an audience for people who build their audience big enough. And if you get canceled before you were lucky enough to build your audience big enough, that was the risk you took to say and do what you did, right? I don't remember it being this thing where we were supposed to have sympathy for people who played the public opinion game and lost. I was always told, like, if you are playing that game, it's a dangerous game. The quote that was always given to me that was attributed to either some Roosevelt, the quote that was given to me was that it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 20 minutes to lose it, right? So I just don't really understand what this pushback against internet cancel culture is. I think it also comes from being like a queer black man who's 90% of the time overweight, not really fitting in anywhere. and being discriminated against because of my voice, because of my skin color, because of my weight, because of my gender performance. And I've just had to truck along with life. And I just don't have a lot of sympathy for a person who built their life to be, a millionaire, successful, viable candidate for entertainment jobs, and then they lose that opportunity. It's like you've got the millions, like you shot for the stars and you hit the moon. I really don't care. I don't care if you are, if I've seen situations where people have been accused of things and lost their jobs. But I've heard of that before. I mean, I've heard of people in public positions who lost their jobs because they were getting divorces, and their corporation, especially television personalities, they couldn't get divorced. It looked bad on their public perception, or like even with those television careers signing non-compete clauses, and they can't work anymore with anyone else for like a long period of time. Is that cancel culture? I'm just like, I'm very, I'm very less, I'm much less enthusiastic about ending uh, cancel culture than I am ending workplace discrimination, um, providing more opportunities for diversity within workplaces, for diversity training, um, for a real thorough examination of um, reparations for African American people, really looking at issues that affect LGBTQIA people and health disparities. I'm looking at those things. I don't really care if you lose your Twitter following. Get off the damn phone and do something. I mean, am I the only person who just really got onto the idea of using social media for more than just like looking at pictures every once in a while? Like, I've started doing YouTube and all this stuff because I like the long form of being able to just talk these things, talk my thoughts through, more so than just texting my thoughts through. But every once in a while, because every once in a while, there's a topic that I see over and over again, and I've seen it over and over again this week. This topic of cancel culture and how people are so upset with it. I just really, I don't know. Was it cancel culture when black people couldn't get work in upper level, government facilities when they had more experience than white people who came in for the same jobs? Was it cancel culture when, a month or so ago there was an insurrection and now the people who were arrested are now free? Is it cancel culture? Are they going to be able to go back to jobs and go back to their lives unidentified on the public record for insurrection? Is that cancel culture? Like, what is cancel culture? Like, I don't get it. I feel like this is just like more that white nonsense. Like, y'all need to just like either shit or get off the pot. Like, if you're going to be on social media, you're going to get pushback. If you don't have an answer for the person or reasoning for it, then don't answer. And if you see that like the polls are turning and you're getting more thumbs down than thumbs up, and you want to make an apology or make an amends or open up a conversation, it's your right to do so. That's how you're going to keep your career afloat. People who've had longevity in the entertainment industry, they have lived through all sorts of scandals. I don't understand why these people think that just because your fame and your budget is based on having a certain amount of followers that you probably bought, that your life is supposed to be any easier. Like, I don't know. Was it called cancel culture when people got death threats? Was it called cancel culture when Janet Jackson couldn't get on when she was banned by CBS, when Les Moonves like put a hit out on her career. Like, I really don't get it. I don't want to hear Bill Maher talking about cancel culture when he's against religion as a whole. Like, the idea of religion, he's against that. He's so atheist that he doesn't want religion to be in society. He thinks people who believe in a god are silly. I'm sure he wants to cancel that. Like, I've heard him talk to people who are religious, and he just he just blithely says to them, like, well, you believe in God, don't you? So you do believe in crazy things. Like, whereas, I mean, the logic could go both ways, right? Because, the person who believes is looking at a person who doesn't, and they're saying, like, well, you profess not to believe in God, but you believe in multiple other things. So I don't really know. I really don't understand what the end goal of it is. to to mention cancel culture as this thing that is to be fought against, but you still have controversial points of view, you still have contradictory points of view, and you're going to fight with people, have disagreements, and you don't believe that other people just don't have the wherewithal to do the same. Like, that's on them. Sorry about it.